Hello and welcome to this week's Coffee Club. Myself, Robert Grieve, and with me as ever, Mr. Bill Leckie. A big week of Scottish football games coming up. Got Scottish Cup this weekend, but first Rangers got a monumental game in Istanbul tomorrow night. Andy Devlin's over there for us in Turkey. He flew out yesterday with a few of the guys. Huge game, Bill. Huge set-up.
Yes.
It's a difficult one to predict, really, I think. Rangers have been so good in European games this season. But again, domestically, the weekend I was at Ibrox and another dire performance.
I'll be honest,
Motherwell.
You were there, saw it in the flesh. From what I've seen back of it, so extended highlights, I think that was about the worst I've seen from them. I thought they were so weak in every department. I thought they were out, they were outfought by Queen's Park and St Mirren as well in the last two home games. But this one, off the back of fighting back at Kilmarnock and giving the fans something to sort of cling on to come out there, with the big hello for Barry Ferguson and a full house, to then perform that badly, must have been so destroying for supporters.
Yeah,
they were dreadful.
I was watching Barry Ferguson on the touchline and he looked kind of shell shocked almost. The amount of times he turned round to his bench and as if, these guys,
is this for real?
Is this for real?
Well, he said it afterwards. I couldn't believe what
his
was
eyes.
saying.
Couldn't believe his eyes. But then should we be surprised, Bill? Because it's been the norm this season for Rangers. It's been there's almost nothing surprising about it at all. Motherwell had a great game plan. We'll come to them in a wee bit actually. Talk about Motherwell, they were terrific. But Rangers were Rangers. They were how they have been playing this season.
I think generally when Rangers have had good results, but if you look at the Kilmarnock game, for instance, Kilmarnock were 2-0 up and then didn't know where to stick or twist.
Could have been 4.
And went right back into their shell and invited Rangers on. The week before at Tynecastle, when at 1-1 Hearts got a Stonewall penalty turned down, that's fine. But Hearts missed so many chances. And we've seen with Hearts, and then Rangers come away and they win the game. I don't see Rangers come away from any games recently and saying, well, hey, tell you what, that was a performance. There's kind of bits here and there. And also the fact that, Barry Ferguson's making these team selections, then having to change them really early tells you a lot about where he's not sure about people. But I just thought the whole thing on Saturday with Rangers against Motherwell was just as bad as, you would think, as bad as they can get.
Yeah, the thing about Barry Ferguson, obviously, is that he's not been afraid to make changes. I actually thought at Rugby Park he got his team wrong.
Yes.
I could not believe he stuck with the same team.
Absolutely.
He lost the previous a few days earlier.
Yeah.
But at least, he get a lot of credit for actually changing it so quickly, taking off Clinton and Ciala so early, half an hour I think it was. But I think he got his team wrong.
Very much so.
At the weekend he made 3 changes at half time.
Yeah.
Don't necessarily think he got his team wrong that night day, but again he was at least quick to actually make changes. You can't keep doing that every week. You can't keep every single game saying, right, but also need to change 3 or 4 players or make a fundamental change.
The changes had no real impact though.
No. They were better second half. They were better,
but better from a position of what? You could see at Rugby Park when Rangers got the first goal back, Kilmarnock almost go, oh no, we can see what's happening here, and it just turned into a kind of steamroller job. It never looked for a minute against Motherwell as if that was going to happen.
No, Motherwell were absolutely terrific.
They were brilliant.
They were absolutely brilliant. They had a game plan. They actually switched it kind of midway through the first half. They kind of made a little change in midfield, and it made a difference. And Rangers just had no answer. But listen, they've got a huge opportunity now tomorrow night. And in European games, European ties this season, they have been able to flick a switch. So would you put it past them going to Turkey against Jose Mourinho's Fenerbahce
and getting a result? No. If you look back over even the last 3 managers with Gio van Bronckhorst, Michael Beale, Felix Clement, when they weren't playing well domestically, they still had this perverse ability to go away. And I think one of the big reasons, certainly with Clement's team, is that they don't have the ball. And there's no pressure. They don't have their home fans on their back.
Yeah.
Because that's plainly a phobia with them now. They don't have the ball, so they don't have the pressure to make the game happen. And they have a little bit of pace when they turn the ball over, and it really suits them. It suits them, and maybe that will suit them in Turkey. Maybe they silence the crowd a little bit and do what away teams are meant to do. But it wouldn't, nothing. I don't think anything with Rangers just now would surprise you.
Yeah, I think it's a huge boost for Barry Ferguson that he's got John Souttar and Liam Balogun. Liam Balogun came on in the second half against Motherwell, looked fine.
Still the best defender, I think.
Probably their best defender, albeit John Souttar, I think, started the season really well. and was heading towards probably being one of the best players.
Yeah.
Barry Ferguson actually said after the game, there was a story yesterday that they've been given this boost. He said after the game at Motherwell that they were both in the plane, they were both almost going to play. So I'm not sure why that was a big story, but what I wonder is, and I'm not really basing this on anything, but I wonder if he goes to a back three. I wonder if he picks Suter, Balogun, and Robin Proper as a three, and it gives him more of a solid base. You know, almost does a Walter Smith.
Well, Robin Proper, I think, would be protected in a back three because in a back four where he's playing beside it, where it's just a straight line, he doesn't see danger. He's got no idea. You saw that when he played the ball.
He doesn't like the physicality.
But we know that. But it's like since Saturday with that first goal, when they're coming out, he's 10 yards behind the rest of the team coming out.
Yeah, just walking
out. Just walking out and not seeing danger. So maybe you're right. Maybe in a back three, they play him in the middle of a back three with the two boys on either side that have got a bit more savvy about them, and maybe they talk him through it. And you're right, sometimes going to that just solidifies things a little bit.
Yeah.
And it also then allows James Tavernier to push on a little bit.
Yeah, well, I think, it may not happen. It's just a kind of feeling. I think that he might consider, say, Barry did it countless times in the Walter Smith games. And they had great success in European games away from home, getting a solid result to take back to Ibrox.
I'll come back to another issue with it we talked about last week on team selection. I said to you, do you think he would leave Jack Butland out at Kilmarnock? You said no, he didn't. He played him again on Saturday. I thought he was poor again on Saturday.
You think he's going to leave him out?
Of Fenerbahce?
Yeah.
I doubt it, but how long can you go with a guy who keeps dropping the ball, who keeps giving the ball away, giving away cheap possession? Now, no matter how big a personality the guy is, no matter how the fact that he's one of your senior players, if he's costing you goals, which he is on a regular basis now, his confidence is clearly gone.
Yeah.
And who knows, he might go to Turkey tomorrow, he might go to Istanbul tomorrow and have an absolute worldie again because the pressure of Ibrox is off him or whatever. But right now, his levels are way, way down.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think Jack Butland is the same. We were talking about this last week, and I think if you were to dissect it or analyse it, overall, since he come to the club, there's an argument that he's been a good signing. However, some of the mistakes he's making these days, the one at Motherwell at the weekend, genuinely, you could have saved it. And is that a concentration thing? Is that a confidence thing? I don't know. We're not goalkeepers.
I think his concentration in his first season was magnificent. If Rangers had the ball for 90% of the game, he was one of these keepers who, in the last minute of the game, would make at 4-0 up, would make a brilliant save to keep a clean sheet. Now his concentration, you watch it when he's got the ball at his feet, he's dithering, he's taking an extra half second. When that shot came in on Saturday for the first goal, he's kind of down in instalments, and it's as if he's just not switched on the way he used to be.
Well, if you're Liam Kelly sitting on that bench training every day, maybe you have got a claim to be champing Barry Ferguson's door and saying, listen, Gaffer, why am I not getting a chance here?
Alan McGregor maybe saying,
could
you register me?
Alan McGregor might get a
no, because I say one thing, but Alan McGregor, very complex character, not a guy I know, right? Not a guy it's easy to get to know, I don't think. But when you watched him on the big stage, his presence was magnificent. And that's what Rangers need, right from the goalkeeper all the way through. They need presence, they need leaders. And they just don't have it just now.
Yeah, maybe that's a big, as we've said, Barry has made big calls since coming in. Maybe that's another one he's considered making. Maybe, who knows, maybe he looks
that would be a massive call.
It'd be a massive call, but as you say, I mean, I'm saying he won't make it, and I'd be surprised if he did make that call to drop Jack Butland. But then equally, why should he not?
Yeah,
why should he be exempt from?
That's why I brought it up last week, and you were right in saying that he wouldn't. You were absolutely right that he wouldn't do it. But I don't think it's doing him a lot of favours just now.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. It's a fair point. But I do wonder, genuinely, if I'm not really basing it on anything, but I do wonder if going to a back three would help. I also think if you go to a back three and you get Tavernier back into the right side and Yilmaz go back to Turkey, home, again, he might turn up. I think it maybe helps Hadji, Cherny, because it reduces their defensive duties. They need to do a shift right now defensively. And
it's not their thing.
And I think if you get into a five that drops in when you've not got the ball, then when you do get the ball, these guys have got more of a more energy, more legs to actually get forward. Also, I'm not sure you can play Dessers and...
Sorry, Jeffy was the one I was going to say.
I was going to say, I don't think you can be Iggyman and Dessers together.
Both, away in Turkey.
Yeah,
no,
I don't think that. So I'm wondering, is it going to be Dessers? Maybe, probably. I don't know. But anyway, I just wonder if you're Barry Ferguson, Neil McCann, Billy Dodds, in the last few days, you're probably giving this a lot of thought. You're probably wondering, how can we go there and get a result? Because I tell you what, if Rangers can get a draw, or even, by the way, lose by a goal.
Ibrox, the following week's going to be phenomenal.
You would take that, because you'll come back next week to Ibrox.
Because that's the season there, isn't it? That's the season.
Yeah, so again, I wonder if they just do a Walter Smith and get pragmatic,
solidify.
Get the guys behind the ball.
There you go.
Knowing their jobs.
Here's a fascinating...
Because, by the way, sorry, Bill, the players defensively, they're experienced. They've got know-how, you know. They can turn their hand to...
But here's the fascinating thing. You're talking about Walter Smith doing it. Walter Smith had guys who he could put the kettle on for, that he would get whatever he needed out of them, whoever they were playing. When you go to places like Florence and Sporting Lisbon or wherever you go. Do you think if Barry goes 3-5-2 or however he 3-5-1-1, however he does it to line it up, do you think he has the players in the middle of the park who can concentrate and hold that shape when the ball breaks against them?
I think Raskin and Diomande, albeit they've toiled lately, I think are decent players. I think in the bigger games when Rangers have played well, those two have played well.
Yes.
So I think central midfield, if you get those two in front of a back five, then I don't think that would be... I think that could give Rangers a base.
Okay.
Give them a base, a foothold in the game. Again, I genuinely think if they can get even a narrow defeat in this game tomorrow night, they'd bite their hand off for it, get back to Ibrox, place will be rocking, full house, and you never know. They could just get through, and before you know it, there's a bit of positivity.
What's an alarm bell score for Rangers? Is it 2? Is it 3?
I thought with Celtic as well, covering them in the Champions League in the last game, albeit they did brilliantly. I think 2. I think if you can keep it within 2 goals going back to your home game, you've got a fighting chance.
Because Rangers have got a great record of scoring early in home games.
The odds are stacked against you, but I don't think we could underestimate Celtic Park and Ibrox on European nights. They're phenomenal. And I don't think we can underestimate that. I think it'll be a big atmosphere in Istanbul tomorrow night. Clearly, they do the whole welcome to health thing. They'll be in the stadium for a long time before the game kicks off. There'll be an atmosphere there.
I was there for the 2 Rangers games in the early 2000s. We went to
back in your peak.
Back in
your pomp years.
Galatasaray away, absolutely pouring rain in the old Ali Sami Yen stadium. They went 3-0 down and came back to 3-2. A sort of heroic failure. 2 years later, they were Fenerbahce away and went 2-0 down and then got a goal back late on and heroic failure. If they could come away with a 2-1 or a 3-2 again in the similar way, I think they'd be quite happy.
Yeah. It's fascinating when you look at it. Barry Ferguson a number of weeks ago is literally doing radio work. He's doing the ambassador role at Ibrox, kind of doing the lounges. Tomorrow night, Jose Mourinho's
absolutely brilliant.
20 yards of Longfield. He's taking on one of the game's greats, the game's greats,
absolutely
managing geniuses, albeit he's maybe not what he was, but that must
be. He'll always be what he was.
He'll always be Jose Mourinho.
He'll get older and he'll get a bit more grisly and a bit more, even more cynical. But exactly. But you never lose what you've got.
Yeah.
You know, he is one of, no matter what MD says about him, and he's got a lot of negatives to his character. He's an absolute genius as a coach and a man manager and a motivator. He's tremendous.
It's some story when you look back on it. The guy that was the interpreter at Barcelona, Bobby Robson.
He's been named World Coach of the Year 4 times with 4 different clubs. That's phenomenal.
Yeah, it's incredible.
What a game it's going to be.
It'll be fantastic.
Tea time.
It'll be fantastic. Andy Devlin's over there for us. I think he's speaking to Jose Mourinho very shortly. There'll be news of that on our website and in tomorrow's paper. So keep an eye out for that. Yeah, we're building it up. It'll be a good game. Hopefully Rangers do themselves justice. They turn up the way they have done in European games so far this season. They don't turn up with the kind of performance they've done against Queen's Park, St Mirren, and Motherwell. Because if they do that, as Barry Ferguson said at the weekend, they will get a tanking. There'll be no ways about it. This tie will be over before they even step back in the plane.
Absolutely.
If they turn up the way they did in these last 3 games.
And it's funny, when you think of that whole mentality thing, there's been some really interesting stuff this week for Stephen A. Smith and then Neil Lennon. We're both talking about dressing room cultures and psychology, and
you're big into this, aren't you? You're kind of...
I very much. I wrote about this in my column on Monday morning, that the idea of a Rangers man is it's a very old school idea. I don't think Rangers need somebody to come in and show them how to be passionate, because you can't teach somebody how to be passionate. They need what Michael Wimmer's done at Motherwell. They need somebody to come in and show players how to play properly, where to be, what runs to make, know your position better. And I think that's what Rangers players, there's a kind of lack of togetherness and leadership out there, and that's what good. And Michael Wimmer's obviously done that on, it's a different level, but he's doing that with Motherwell very well. And I've been really interested to hear Stephen A. Smith and Neil Lennon both talking about a sort of a need for a root and branch change from top to bottom at Rangers. That's what I've been writing about as well. About the fact it's not just about this team not being very good. It's about the whole place being, a bit of a husk of a club. It's not. You don't feel as if anybody's in charge. Anybody's driving the car. It's kind of drifting along, and whoever comes, when they get this deal done with the San Francisco dudes, Bush, it has to be cleaned.
Yeah. I think somebody actually made a point to me at the weekend. I thought it was a really, really good point. Rangers fans are excited about what's going on or what's potentially going to happen in the coming weeks and months. Understandably so.
Yeah.
There's going to be investment coming. It should change things for the better at Rangers. It could be transformational. Mm-hmm. The guys in the Rangers dressing room, every chance that 90%, 80-90% of them are sitting there thinking, I'm not going to be part of this.
Nah.
I'm out the door. When these guys come in, a new manager comes in, whether it's Barry Ferguson who stays or whether a new manager comes in. What are these guys in the dressing room sitting and think, I'm not part of this?
You look at what happened with PSV against Arsenal last night. Right? PSV are going through a terrible time. They're going to empty the place in the summer. There's going to be all sorts of changes. And if you ask any Dutch journalists, will tell you there's players there who are just now coasting along, getting to the end of the season, taking their money and going, and there they go lose 7-1 to Arsenal. That's what happens when the culture of a club becomes toxic and lazy.
Yeah,
and
I thought it was a really, really good point.
Yeah, very much so.
I often think, and I mentioned this at the time, when a club's going for promotion, like a championship club's going for promotion, and maybe it's quite surprising that they're kind of pushing late on in the season. Everybody's going to be fantastic for the club if they get promotion. And a lot of these guys in the dressing room thinking, I'm not good enough to be playing. I'm not going to be playing. If we get promoted, I'm not playing. And maybe subconsciously that's at the back of their mind thinking, I'm better staying here now. So I'm not saying they don't want to get promoted. Maybe they do want it in their CV, but there'll be a lot of guys in that Rangers dressing room who think they're getting emptied.
Because
why should they put their shoulder to the wheel?
Because what then happens
even subconsciously, why did they put their shoulder to the wheel?
If you look last season, for instance, at Luton Town, remarkable promotion to the English Premier League. The manager stuck with pretty much with his squad that came up. They weren't good enough, and now they're bottom of the Championship because they weren't good enough, and it affected their confidence so badly. So it's a really difficult juggling act, and also it's going to be a huge amount of change to make in a very short space of time for these new people, and it's got to be changed not just in the dressing room but in the boardroom, everywhere, the tea ladies, the canteen, the training ground, everywhere. A mentality shift has got to happen very, very quickly.
Well, I'm saying that I hope they don't do what's happening at Manchester United.
No,
I think that's despicable.
It really is.
People here getting emptied that have been there for 20, 30, 40 years. Guys in the tea room, guys in the media department or whatever, guys that run with the bricks.
Yeah, absolutely.
These guys come in and it's just like
they cut the
red pen through.
They cut the contribution they make to the former players fund. And an interesting thing.
They've got the staff's canteen lunch.
Well, here's an interesting thing, because I know that's Jim Ratcliffe's kind of day-to-day thing, but there was a survey of NFL footballers came out this week where they were asked to rate their club's owners on various things, and bottom of the pile in terms of basically player care was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are owned by Glazers. So it's a very similar culture. They said the canteen was terrible, the transport setups were really bad. So there seems to be a kind of thread runs through of cutting corners there, and that's what you don't want from new owners.
Yeah, no, I just hope that doesn't happen. Just even for people point of view, there's a lot of people at Rangers who've been there a long time, and we've actually seen it before when there was change made when they went through what they went through in the club. There was a lot of good people at that club, at Rangers, people we know who were discarded despicably, despite the fact that they stayed and they were there through the worst of the times. And when the so-called good guys come in, they were shown the door, which I hope that doesn't happen again.
Absolutely.
Time will tell it. But there does have to be change. Clearly, there has to be change. As you say, few people were speaking about it this week. Spoke to Stephen Naismith. Stephen Naismith's words were really good, really strong.
And I was totally the bit that got me was when he talked about the Rangers man.
Well, he was talking, I think, more about the guys in the board.
I know he was.
About how that's why they were, almost kind of so-called Rangers men.
It's the whole playing to the gallery thing. which I think appointing Barry Ferguson is part of, when that'll keep the fans on side. But does it change results? Does it make the team better? Does it make the place more successful? So I liked what he said. I thought he was talking really well, and probably a wee bit of a CV booster for him as well.
No, he's not the biggest fans' favourite with Rangers fans
no,
anyway.
He's not,
or people at Rangers anyway, given.
But then there's one of your
history at the club.
Yeah,
but,
absolutely has.
But yeah, it was a fair point. But at the same time, there are a lot of people behind the scenes at Rangers who have done a lot of good.
Absolutely.
You know, they're on their way out now. I don't think it's fair to just, you know, the club was in a terrible state, and guys come in with real money.
Yeah.
And real money that they're not getting back.
Yeah.
And they did their best. Now,
yes, absolutely.
Whether it has worked out to be the best for the club, that's an argument. But I think there's a lot of people there with the best intentions.
No,
you know, Rangers go through a lot of years with their people who are running the club who didn't have the best intentions for the club. I don't think you can really say that with the guys there just now.
No.
Albeit they've clearly made mistakes, the recruitment at the club and certain appointments. But they've done it with the best intentions, I think.
I think it's now best that there's a clean break from all that, and that new people come in.
Yeah, but I think they accept that.
Aye, and
that's why they're getting out.
And you just run things from top to bottom as a new club, as a club with a new outward looking mentality rather than an inward looking mentality, which I think is one of Rangers' big problems.
Yeah, but there's a kind of automatic assumption that these new guys are going to come in with absolutely 100% the right decisions.
Yeah, absolutely. Nobody does.
In a notebook.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way.
No.
You know, there might be some tough decisions that come in the next few months when they come in, and it'll be interesting to see how it pans out. But on the face of it, it's what Rangers need.
Yes.
And on the face of it, I think it's what. I don't think it's good for Scottish football. We've got a team so far in a way better than everyone else.
Definitely not.
Celtic have been exceptional.
You want two teams away from everyone else.
You
at least want competition.
You want competition. There's zero competition in the league just now. Yeah. The season's done.
Yeah.
We're going to games on a Saturday now. The season is over. And it's
amazing to think
that's not good for the game.
I mean, Celtic can still win it pretty much for the split. If Rangers beat Rangers, then lose it. Celtic, they have been very, very good.
And it's not Celtic's fault that Rangers are in the state they've been in.
No.
You know, Celtic have done their job. They've got their house in order. They've done everything that they could possibly have, their supporters could possibly have asked for them to do. They've got the players in, they've been better in Europe, and domestically they've run away with it. Aye. It's not their fault that Rangers are in shambles.
Exactly.
But anyway, listen, Motherwell, I need to touch on Motherwell a bit more.
They were excellent. Really good.
When we spoke about Michael Wimmer, obviously came in a couple of weeks ago. He's not had that much time to work with the players, but it also he has, you know. By all accounts, he's been drilling them on the training pitch. I also think, interestingly, I'm led to believe he's doing the whole training at 3 o'clock thing, which often doesn't go down very well with players.
That's absolute music to my ears.
I'm
train as you play.
No, I'm not a big fan of that. I think at a certain level that's fine, but I think if you get guys in the dressing room who have got the school run to go to, who their wives are working, they've got things to do.
But
they're not in fortunes. I know players aren't.
No, I know, but they're still full-time employees. Yeah. And if you say, look, but the game, I've never understood that. You know, let's go and train at 10 o'clock in the morning for a game at 7:45 at night. I mean, I don't know. I'm all for a bit of realism and creating real situations for players.
Yeah, but training at 3 o'clock how is that different? Just because you're playing at 3 o'clock?
Because it means you can plan your day. You
often play midday. I don't know.
Yeah,
listen, it's working so far.
Yeah.
But I do wonder if that's something that
I like that.
I think if you're in that dressing room, it's maybe an issue. But at the minute, it doesn't look like it. And by all accounts, he has been a good guy. He's been open with them. He's been receptive to what they want. They've been saying to him.
And from what I've seen so far, his players and the greatest thing a manager can do is take the players he has and make them better. Anybody can dump players and bring in new players, but if you can take, I don't think you'd be able to name someone in that Motherwell side who wasn't better than the last time you saw them. You know, what's the player like Dan Casey, who suddenly was stepping into the play and had confidence on the ball, and you know.
Yeah, they were absolutely exceptional. They really were. Slattery's a player. It was great to see him back playing after his injury. He's really, really good.
And when they get Lennon Miller back joining everything up, he's just such a good player.
Lennon Miller, again, we had a story during the window that Celtic are looking at him. They're obviously still looking at him. That's not changed. That's an obvious one. It wouldn't surprise me if that's something that happens.
He's an exceptional player.
That happens potentially in summer. Whether we think we've spoken this before, there are clubs in Europe looking at the kid, and you wonder if that's maybe a path for him. But however it turns out, the boy's a player. He's just got a coolness, a calmness.
He plays the game very simply, doesn't he?
He's just got the eye of it, isn't he? He just seems to know where it should go.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he does it. But at the same time, I thought Andy Halliday was really good. He was made captain at the weekend. Liam Gordon at the back was outstanding. He went right through the whole team. They were really good. Motherwell. They had a way of playing.
There was a zip about them, wasn't there?
Bill, they had a real energy about them. And his whole thing is obviously the press and the getting after the game. Now, I think in our previous game against Dundee, after maybe an hour, 70 minutes, they were shattered and they kind of dropped back a bit and kept control of the game, but just didn't have the energy levels. And maybe that's something that's going to be an issue when you're turning to your bench and you maybe don't have, it's maybe you don't have the same quality, albeit they do have quality on the bench. But I do wonder, the more the games go on, if your team's playing against that, you can maybe almost let them blow themselves out a little bit to a certain extent,
but also
and then
think,
you go.
I also think the more sessions he has working with them in his way, the fitter they're going to get, and the more able they're, they'll be able to do, 60 minutes, then we'll be able to do 65, 70, and eventually maybe into next season, they'll be at full tilt for him.
Yeah, but there's no really good.
Brilliant result for them.
Really good. I say that the tactical change as well for the first half of the kind of middle of the park, and Rangers almost didn't really know how to deal with it, and that's what they kept on getting joy from it. Really good to see from one Motherwell point of view. And I mean, you weren't too sure about Michael Wimmer. You wondered if maybe why they didn't go a Scottish route or a British route.
It was a question mark because it's another one that could. You sort of looking at it from the outside, you go, is this another one of these ones where you go, no, I have got a cleverer idea than you have. I know you're looking at this Scottish guy or a guy from English, League One. Let's go for this guy. Now, you look at the Jimmy Talleen thing, and it looks brilliant for the first 3 months, and now it looks a bit wobbly. So you don't know. But if he keeps up the standards that he's putting in just now, and he gets the response that he's getting, it could be a success.
Well, from his point of view, all you can really hope for is a good start to actually give you the foundation, because the players will be receptive to it now. The players will be buying into what he's saying, what he's asking them to do, because of just the first couple of results, and that gives them such a big chance to actually take it forward. So good luck to him. They were great on Saturday, really good. And we'll obviously keep an eye out for them. You were at the Edinburgh Derby Sunday.
Brilliant.
Hibs were decent, Again.
Actually, they had a long spell where they weren't. But what was really good was the way they worked their way back into the game, and the changes that David Gray made that got them back into it, and they got themselves over the line. Great goal by Jack Iredale, brilliant. Hit with his left foot, bending away for Craig Gordon. It was a good game. It was a proper derby. It was end to end. It was refereed very well by John Beaton. It was just good. But what really got me was the end of the game. It was one of those big Sunshine and Leith productions, right?
Did they sing that? Did they?
They do sing that. Aye. Jack Iredale, actually, here's an interesting one. Here's an interesting one for your comments. Jack Iredale came in after scoring the goal and said it is the best football song in the world. Right now,
hard to argue.
Well,
it's brilliant,
and it's written by Hibs fans. It's about the local area, and nobody else has it. It's not like You Never Walk Alone, shared by 2 clubs, whatever. Anyway, the player, we had a magnificent picture on the match spread on Monday morning. Instead of using all the usual goals, celebrations, just the players lined up, arms round each other. Now, they all came out and did that. Sunshine Leith starts playing, all the scarves went up, the whole thing. No, you've got something in your eye, no, I've got something in my eye. And I mentioned this in my match report. It was a brilliant thing that David Gray did. So he let his players take the limelight. He's standing, he's in the centre circle, Craig Sampson and other coaches. And he had a wee look around, he went, now, Eddie May, his assistant, was in a car crash a couple of weeks ago. He's still suffering. He's got 3...
broken ribs and stuff.
Now, he likes to watch the game from behind the press box, which, if anybody doesn't know Easter Road, the main stand at Easter Road, it's very, very high. And Eddie came up before the game and he's holding his ribs. And he went up and he went back down at half-time. And he came back up for the second half. And by the time he got back down the stairs again, the players were already out and they were on to the second verse of Sunshine Leith. And David Gray's looking down and he saw him and he said to Craig Sampson, go and get him. And Craig came out and led him across. So, no man left behind. That's one of the secrets of David Gray's success. Everybody's part of this. We're not going to go, just leave him there, he's not very well. Bring him out, get him in there. And it was a tremendous end to the game. And it was just a great moment. And by the way, Hibs, I keep coming back to this. In October, on start of November, they play Aberdeen. They score in the last 2 seconds of the game to make it 3-3. if they lose the game, they go 28 points behind Aberdeen.
It's gone.
They're now ahead of Aberdeen.
Yeah.
Isn't that? Now, it tells you a lot about where Aberdeen have gone, but what Hibs have done is sensational.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a remarkable turnaround. We spoke about it at the time, how close he was to being emptied. I think they were under no illusions that was the case there. And he's managed to do it, and it's brilliant to see. I watched the game. I was watching the game in my at home on the TV, and it just
in the West Wing.
In the West Wing, it looked a great atmosphere. It did really good. I mean, talking about the Sunshine and Leith thing, I noticed. I'm not a huge Coldplay fan. You love Coldplay, don't you?
No.
They mentioned it recently. I noticed they mentioned it. They've got a Scottish guy in the band, haven't they? They've got a Scottish guy in the band who had never heard of Sunshine and Leith, and
is that the boy, the centre forward, Chris Martin?
I don't believe you said that. No, one of the other ones. But they heard this and they recorded it or they sang it, and it was like, wow, this is amazing, this song. But it is a great song.
It's a great song.
It's a great stadium song.
Yeah. And it's the same verse twice, but it doesn't really matter because everybody it's an anthem and it's brilliant. Anyway, it was great. Hearts, on the other hand, are a little bit disappointing. You know, they kind of get to a certain stage in the game where they're doing all right, and then they just can't. There's something missing with them. I don't quite know what it is. There's a little spark of creativity that's not quite there. They can never quite get everybody to play at the same time.
Yeah.
And they'll have been disappointed because you look at Hearts, they keep, they'll go a wee run where they get a couple of results, but they're not really getting to where they want to be, and it's not
doing them any favours that how good Hibs are doing.
No, absolutely not. Well, it was quite a few Hearts fans have pointed out since that, and this may be slightly unfair, Neil Critchley hasn't won a big game yet, and that's one of the big things. Can you win? David Gray got a draw with Rangers over the New Year period. He's beaten Celtic. He's beaten Hearts twice now. It's first time in donkey's years they've beaten Hearts twice back to back. And the run they're on now, 13 league games unbeaten. The last team to do that in a single season with Hibs were the famous 5 in 1949.
Wow.
And what a season! They were great to watch.
Were they good to interview?
They were great to interview.
Great interview. Well, that's Hibs are doing great. What are we, again as ever, we have to tell you, like and subscribe.
Need to.
No two ways about it. Please, if you can, genuinely, give us an idea of how things are going. Give me your comments as well. Bill's dress is a bit better this week. But let us know what you think it. Whatever you think of, whatever.
Where are you this weekend?
Let us know what you think. Where am I this weekend? I'm at Celtic Park for Celtic Hibs on Sunday. By the way, I do not like this Scottish Cup over 4 days.
4 days, rubbish. Absolute rubbish.
It
dilutes the quarterfinals.
Maybe 2 days, but...
I mean, I know it's for TV and blah, 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 but, where are
you?
I am at St Johnstone Livy on Monday night, the big one. I know. Listen,
it's a good tie.
There's a great prize there.
But Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
At very worst,
Monday night.
At very worst, 2 on a Saturday, 2 on a Sunday. At very worst. But Friday night, you've got Hearts Dundee Friday night. You've got Aberdeen Queen's Park 12:30 on a Saturday. You've got Celtic Hibs on the Sunday afternoon, and then Monday night, St Johnstone against Livingston. Now, for St Johnstone and Livingston, what a great prize to be going to Hampden for the semi-final. It's, that would be tremendous for either of them. But it just feels so diluted.
Yeah, I don't like it at all.
It's like sucking the life out of the tournament. You don't need that.
Also, correct me if I'm wrong, and maybe I'm wrong with this, maybe it's kind of how you think back in things. It used to be that they made a thing of the draw.
Yeah.
And it was maybe an event, a day or something.
I think Rod Stewart killed it.
Maybe he did. But it was, the last draw was like after one of the games, like quickly, right? It was after extra time. Was it St Mirren, wasn't it? After extra time, like quickly there. It's like, they're almost trying to draw at midnight or whatever the time it was. It's like,
I know.
You know what I mean?
Aye. Which barely, I mean, and even from a technical point of view from a newspaper, it's very difficult to get it in at that time of night because
they don't care about these things anymore. But it's just, I don't know. It's just, I don't like the
I love the Scottish Cup.
Yeah, sure they are. I mean,
when it comes to semi-final weekend and it comes to final day, it'll be such a massive thing. There'll be bells and whistles and there'll be fireworks and stuff. But right now, it feels like a bit of a damp squib.
Yeah. Tell you what, though, that game you're going to.
Yeah.
What an opportunity for either of those
Both
teams.
Of them.
Yeah. I mean, that's a real. I mean, we're saying about Monday night and blah blah blah, but that's a great.
That's why I'm looking forward to going to it. So,
it's chance you've got.
I saw Livingston win down at Ayr a week back on Saturday, last minute. If you get a chance to see this goal, Robbie Muirhead's free kick from 30 odd yards. It's sensational free kick. And Livingston have got a wee something about them. I'm not saying how well they would do if they came up through the playoffs or by winning the title. I would say Falkirk are probably favourites to win the title. But there's something about them, they're getting it back again. They had lost that kind of livey-ishness they had in the last season or so in the Premier League, in the Premiership, but they're getting it back, and they'll be a challenge for St Johnstone, no doubt about it.
That was a big result for Falkirk last night, wasn't it? Queen's Park. Was that last night?
No, they won 3-0 at Airdrie last night, and Ayr won at Queen's Park.
Ayr, sorry, Ayr, I'm talking about Ayr.
So
Ayr were 2-0 down.
Yeah, and they needed it because they won at the weekend against Airdrie, and then they were 2-0 down, and that's really kept them in it, because Scott Brown was kind of... Fascinating thing with Scott Brown, he's now taking his 5th goalkeeper of the season. He's taking a boy on loan from Celtic. He's used 5 different goalkeepers. He's changed goalkeepers now 11 times this season.
Wow.
11 times.
Wow.
He kind of did the same thing at Fleetwood. I don't know whether Scotty just doesn't like goalkeepers. Maybe we could play a backy in or something.
Well, that's about us for this week, I think. Cakes wise, what have Bella Vita here? Marco
usual
sorted us out
tiramisu.
royally.
Little bit of a key lime cheesecake, some rocky road there, a bit of key lime cheesecake, and I love the kind of coconut and raspberry cake.
Key lime pie.
Yeah.
That's great.
Beautiful. That's your afternoon sorry, doesn't it?
No, I'm off them.
He takes the cakes.
No, I take them and I give them away. The girls in the office, you know who you are.
You're going to say they love me. You were going to say that, weren't you?
No, I was not. But they love me when I walk in with a pile of cakes. So that's going to them. But no, thanks very much again to Marco and everyone here at Bella Vita for today's hospitality. Again, like and subscribe if you can. Let us know what you think in the comment section. All joking apart. And we'll catch you again next week.